Yeah.
Because I remember waking up from after I wrecked, because I got knocked out. Then I remember waking up and there was, people standing around me. They were kind of looking down at me, and I remember just thinking like, yeah, I fucking wrecked. It definitely, because the last thought I had before I got knocked out was like, I'm fucked basically.
Was there any reason why you were feeling so sendy, or?
The sun was shining. I had the day off work. I thought, yeah, this is
the perfect day.
Yeah, it was like a great day. Gonna go swimming down at the river later. Why not?
How big was the jump that you went on?
So I think it was like a 30 or 40 foot tabletop.
God damn.
Wow.
I mean, I don't ride, but that sounds pretty big. Or no, was it not really?
I mean, it's a decent size, but usually I wasn't clearing these jumps. I'd kind of just sit back and, take it easy on them. But for some reason that day, I just felt like I really wanted to send it on these jumps, and I mean, it worked out real well for me. So.
So did the bike land on you? I don't play this out for me. I mean, I remember it happening, but I don't remember I never heard much about it.
Yeah, so Josh Longfellow and I, we were racing, kind of pushing each other. I was ahead of him, and I remember coming around the corner and looking back at where he was off of the berm, and then just gassing it into this jump. But when you hit the jumps, you kind of get down what gear it is that you've got to be in, and what line that you're hitting, because hitting different parts of the jump, especially once it starts getting rutted out, it's going to kind of send you off differently. I just remember, I think I hit a different line because he was kind of on the outside and I'd be going the outside. And I'm pretty sure I was a gear higher and hadn't really noticed it. And basically I overshot the jump, came down, my front tire hit, and then my head hit.
Oh, okay.
And then that knocked me out. And I'm pretty sure that, the bike rolled over me somehow.
Yeah.
There was no way around wrecking, but I thought that I'd let go of the bike, and I guess I didn't, because I thought I'd bailed off the bike and ditched it, but I guess I froze up and my hands just stayed on the handlebars. And I just remember waking up, and I'd never felt another pain like that, and so I was just like, well, my fucking femur's broken and my back's really sore, because I could look down and see my my leg all twisted off.
Yeah.
And then my back, I told them, it was really hurting. And they asked me if I wanted to sit up. I said, yeah, but I couldn't sit up on my own. So they started to. And I was like, no. And somebody was like, don't even try and lift him up. He's saying his back hurts, So they laid me back down. And then I just basically laid there until the paramedics came up.
It was like that, like a long time?
I really couldn't tell you, to be honest. I would say probably an hour to 2 hours.
Fuck.
Waiting for him?
Yeah, the first responders to get there, the first ones there were actually the Nehalem Bay Fire Rescue. They got there before the ambulance did.
Yeah.
I remember the ambulance, there was somebody who was supposed to go up and meet the ambulance to show them where we were at the road, and all of a sudden one of the firefighters looks over and they're like, what are you doing back there? And as you can hear the ambulance, going by. And at this point, my adrenaline or whatever had worn off. And I was starting to be in quite a bit of pain. He's down there. He's like, oh, I didn't know if they were coming or not. They're like, why would they not be coming? And so they had to send somebody after the ambulance to get the ambulance to come back down.
Did you ever think that you were going to die ever, or were you not worried about that?
I can't say that dying or being paralyzed ever crossed my mind, because I remember wiggling my toes and thinking all right, I'm not, my legs work. Mm-hmm. Obviously my left one was broken, so I couldn't lift it or anything, but my right leg, I could wiggle my toes, and I didn't have any fear of that. I was kind of just thinking I probably, hit my back pretty hard. I wasn't even thinking it was broken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I had brand new riding gear. They cut my brand new riding gear off me. And they had to do it's called a traction, where they clip a deal down to your ankle, and it's basically clipped up all the way along your leg. So they pull it, they set it back to where it's at least not overlapping itself, which is extremely painful when they're, pulling on it and resetting it.
Where were your parents at,
So what happened there was my parents were, my dad, we process all of our own meat. So he was smoking, I think he was smoking bacon, or maybe he was making like sausages or something. And my mom was down there at this place that we do it, and somebody stopped by and said, one of the boys broke their leg. So of course they just think Tristan, because he's insane on a dirt bike or in anything that he does. They're like, it was probably Tristan. And they get there and they see that it was me. And my mom sees me all laid out, and she comes over and she's crying. I'm laying there and I'm like, I'm all right. It's going to be all right. And then, she calms down and she's just kind of there supporting me or whatever. And my dad knew that my uncle was there. And my uncle, he's like, he wouldn't be calling for an ambulance or a life flight if this wasn't like pretty bad. So he's like, I better go up there. So then my dad came up too. Yeah, so both my parents ended up there just kind of checking things out.
Did you get evac'd out by a heli or no?
Yeah, a helicopter came. It was I had to get it was a helicopter. It was an ambulance ride down to because it's pretty close to the river. So it was an ambulance ride down to the helicopter, and the helicopter out to OHSU in Portland. Did
that cost a fat stack to get that stuff fixed? Like you're saying, ambulance and helicopter, dude. This is like a war zone achievement or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it was not a cheap ride, I don't imagine, but I had pretty good insurance, so that took care of pretty much all of it.
How long was the helicopter to OSHU?
They were flying me up the river, and I remember asking, I remember them telling me, it's a 45-minute helicopter ride. I'm in the helicopter, and I think at this point some of the drugs were starting to kick in, but it was also like a lot more painful. And I'm on the stretcher, and I remember asking, how long until we get there? And he says, 45 minutes or whatever. And man, we just took off. And then it felt like it was just like, hours had gone by. And I said, all right, how much longer till we get there? And he goes, about 43 minutes.
No, dude.
And at that point, I don't remember anything after that until we landed on the
helipad
at OHSU, the EMT or whatever. He gave me his sunglasses because it was super sunny out and my head hurt and everything. So he's like, oh, here, my sunglasses. So I was like, badass, man. got some sunglasses on. The helicopter guy.
Yeah.
Do you still have those sunnies?
Oh yeah, I got them.
That's sick as fuck.
That is sick. So like, you land, right? They get you out, right? They get you into the ER. Is like everyone around you like panicking?
No, the people that were hauling me in were real calm. I remember they were more so worried about like internal bleeding type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think they see a lot at that hospital, they see a lot worse stuff than that, as far as bones sticking through the skin, like stuff that's visibly a lot worse.
Yeah.
They roll me into the ER, and like as soon as you get in there, they're doing CAT scans, MRIs, they're just running me through all these machines. And one of the things that was like the worst to me about that was I got knocked out and got a concussion, and so my head hurt really bad. It's like all these machines, like the loud beeps and all this stuff, and that was just terrible.
Did you have to get a catheter in? I wanted to ask that. What was that like?
The catheter?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to imagine getting that thing shoved up, dude.
I had to get 3 catheters.
3?
Like 3 different times.
Oh, okay. Because you're not going triple N.
No,
okay.
I'm not that big.
3 different times. Why, they had to pull it and put it back?
So
why so many?
The first time, because I was on so many painkillers, and I don't know, something with back being all messed up, and then being on all these painkillers, like couldn't pee basically.
Oof.
The first 2 times it was this what they call like a straight catheter, so they like ultrasound you like they would like if you had a kid in you.
Okay.
And then they like to check and like then they see your bladder's full.
Yeah.
And they catheter drain your bladder.
What is it? So they shove it up and then they just let it drain?
Yeah, I don't know. They know how to hit all the right places, I guess. And let it drain, and then they just pull it out, and then yeah, and then so they did that twice, and then the next time they did one that actually like stays in there.
Okay, well that's better than having
for the surgeries.
Uh-huh.
I know. I wish they would have just done that the first time, because the going in I wouldn't quite say is the worst. They have this numbing spray that they use first, and that is what hurts the most. The numbing
spray is what hurts.
Yes.
But then you get numb, so you can't feel it.
Yes, basically.
Yeah, but the initial
spit, right? I mean, you can feel it.
It just sounds like a whole experience I want to avoid in my life.
Yeah, I would recommend avoiding it at all costs.
Did the numbing spray just burn hella bad? Or?
Yeah, but basically it burned.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What did you do in the hospital for all those 8 days?
So I told you guys before I had, a pretty bad concussion.
Yeah.
And from Sunday until Tuesday afternoon when I had my femur surgery, I pretty much just laid on my back with my neck and a neck brace, and, no pillow or anything. My leg kicked up, just laid on my back staring at the ceiling with a wet washcloth on my eyes because my head hurt so bad. I mean, they were taking me out to get more x-rays. It would be 2 a.m. and you'd have 7 doctors roll into the room and start doing tests on you.
I also want to talk about recovery too. So what was that like?
The recovery time, it seemed pretty, it felt really long, but in big picture, it was actually pretty short for what had happened because I had to wear for the first 2 months. I had to, anytime I was standing or sitting up, I had to have a back brace on. And then to move around, I had to use my walker.
I know that there's a cool ass picture of you with the walker and then a buck right there. You got it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. What was that like? Hunting, I know you went hunting through the recovery.
I just didn't want to miss the hunting season.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can still get out and, I could move around with the walker all right. And I had to use, I've got a gun and it's a lot lower caliber. I usually hunt for deer with a 270 Winchester short mag.
Yeah.
And this thing was just a 6mm Remington, which the 270 shoots a lot faster, bigger bullet, and the 6mm it shoots a lot smaller of a projectile and it doesn't kick nearly as bad. The recoil is a lot lighter, which was why I was able to shoot that because it wasn't going to jerk my back around too much.
Yeah, how far did you shoot that from?
I would say that the buck was only about 60 yards or so.
So it was pretty close.
It was pretty close, but I had a really easy shot. He was standing there broadside, and then I was having a hard time seeing him, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think still, maybe effects from the concussion or something, but I was having a hard time seeing him, and I had Tristan, my brother, and then one of my best friends, Henry, was with me, and he said, they're like, are you gonna shoot this or what? They're waiting on me, and it turns from broadside to facing away from me, and I just shot it right in the back of the head, which I just made it harder, but
yeah,
it just went down, and it was pretty awesome.
Well, now you're good, man. Thank God the boy's back.
Yep,
he's chilling, and he can be dogging now. Have you rode a dirt bike since then, or no?
Yeah, I took my dirt bike out this summer for the first time ride since it happened and blew it up. So I don't know what I'm gonna do now.
But you blew it up on the ride again, or what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess dirt bike ride
shit, then it blew up.
I guess dirt bike riding just isn't for him. I guess you haven't sent big since then.
No, I don't even know how big I was sending it the day I wrecked. I was pushing my own limits.
You were feeling good, yeah.
I was pushing my own limits. I was riding pretty good that day. Until I wrecked. So I don't know how good I actually was riding that day.